Good morning there. You're watching QTV this morning, and I am Jenna Wasonko. Thank you so much for joining us. Yesterday, we couldn't be here due to reasons beyond our control, but alhamdulillah, we're here today, and we're starting a bit earlier due to the Commission of Inquiry into Local Government Councils, which will be showing to you live every single day as long as the commission is ongoing. So the time for this morning has changed, you know, from the 10 o'clock that we used to start to 9 a.m. So, you know, adjust, you know, try to get used to our new time. And I'm sure, Ibrahim, good morning. I'm sure they will try to adjust because they love the program to see what we have.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, they'll try to adjust at least, I mean, you know, the time due to the reasons that you mentioned. Yes. That's why we have to change the time. Yeah. I mean, because we know we cannot afford, I mean, just sitting without doing the program for them. You know, so I think 9. Well, 9.
Yes, 9. Yeah, but they will adjust eventually. Yeah. You know, to understand. Yeah. You know the reason
even
why.
Mr. Adedrame is adjusting.
He's adjusting, right? He knows he has to be here at 9. Mr. Mboj has adjusted already. He's here with us. Good morning. Thank you so much.
It seems that we are the ones who have sort of adjusted.
Yes.
I mean, Ade's got this accommodative style.
Yes.
Come at any time, he's ready.
That's true. That's true. That's true. You see, because even for me, I couldn't do my makeup because, you know, it's a bit different.
Oh, you are without makeup?
I'm without makeup today. But apart from the fact that you know, it's starting differently, you know, today I just came in the morning and I was not in the mood to just sit and have my makeup done. Does that happen to you, gentlemen, sometimes, where there's a specific routine that you have, something that you need to do every single day, but sometimes you just feel like, I can't do this today. I don't feel like it.
That's normal.
Of course, it's chemical.
Today I just didn't want to sit and have somebody paint my face, like normal. Put on foundation. I just couldn't today.
It happens once in a blue moon. I mean,
once in a blue moon for you?
Yeah.
That's good for you.
I mean, you know, it depends on like the mood you are. I mean, maybe sometimes there are things that make you not to feel very good. I mean, even though someone didn't do anything to you, you know, sometimes you feel moody. You feel, I mean, Mr. Boy, what do you think should one do when you are in that type of a situation?
Oh, it's a very interesting one because you will face it sort of, as you said, maybe once, not once in a blue moon, but it's random.
It's random, right?
It just comes at any point.
Yeah.
This is where now, actually, experience, maturity, self-mastery, as they say. That's really the beginning of freedom. Unless you master yourself, you cannot be free, because then you will be shoved about, pushed about by these feelings. So you must assert yourself somehow. That's it. When these things come up, all right, take your time out, deal with it, and massage, as it were, your way around it. So it's a mind game. Yeah. But yes, once in a while you'll face these moods to get a work, but you're not in the mood to talk. You know, how many times that sort of things happen to me?
Yeah, me too.
You need to go sort of on set, offer opinions. But I'm like, I really don't have any opinions. Or I don't really want to talk. Yeah. But work must be done.
Well, work must be done. But I agree with the self-mastering he said. You know yourself. You know when you feel a certain way, what you need to do to manage it. You know, because whatever life has to go on, things have to happen.
I think self-mastering is very important.
It is very important.
You need to know yourself. I mean, if you understand yourself well, I mean, you should be able to handle things. I mean,
sure.
Otherwise, emotion will control you.
Yeah, it will, and you need to take charge.
Yeah. It reads, the one who throws the stone forgets. The one who is hit remembers forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one who throws the stone forgets. But the one who is hit remembers forever. And another one is telling us, the axe forget, but the tree wouldn't forget. You know?
Yeah, that's straightforward, right?
Yeah. So, Mr. Mboj, take us through.
Yes. When I looked at this, then I thought, ooh, maybe victimhood has a long shadow. That's how I see it. Yeah, I suppose it makes sense, and it also reminds me of, there was an interview Idi Amin did years afterwards, and to him he did the right thing. So maybe the throwers of these stones, maybe they think that what they're doing, well, the victims actually deserve this. So you don't think you've done anything wrong, maybe not much, then it's easy for you to just to forget. But when I'm hit, and that pain, but perhaps even traumatized, one could even be traumatized by this sort of thing. No, I wouldn't forget.
Yeah, it's just as in, the Gambia's transitional justice process. During the TRRC, we see how things that have happened 20 years ago, 25 years ago, is when they were called to testify, this were like fresh wounds. You can feel that from their voices, their emotions and everything. So it does not, when you harm somebody or when somebody is a victim, there's no time frame to say, okay, this is a time frame for an individual to heal. That's not written anywhere. So it means the individual always remembers, but you that have, committed the crime or perpetrated it, maybe you might even forget, as alongside.
Fantastic example. The TRRC really demonstrated this proverb in many ways.
Yes.
With the perpetrators, or the alleged perpetrators, remember this sort of contrived forgetfulness.
Yes.
Oh, can't remember this, can't remember that, can't remember that. But to the victims, absolutely.
It's fresh.
The pain, it seems so raw.
Exactly.
So that really demonstrated what we were trying to say.
Yeah, I think the TRRC in the Gambian context
in many ways, we saw what the perpetrators did, the throwers of these stones, and we saw the targets. The people these stones hit.
So there's never a time frame. So next time when you're trying to hurt somebody, remember, the victim never forgets.
Yeah, think about it.
Think about, the next person's feelings.
Sometimes words, things that you say to people, can remain with them forever and ever. Whenever they see you, that comes to their mind.
Yeah, that's a very interesting one there. It puts me to mind, straight back to high school. We had an English teacher called Mrs. Carr, Dela Carr. One said, hey, look, words are like water. Once you spill them, you can never pick them up again. So when you're really angry, close your eyes and count to 10 before you utter anything. Extraordinary, talking about words. Just like water.
They're so
Once
powerful.
they're out, that's it. You can never take them back.
You can never.
So close your eyes and count to 10.
Close your eyes and count to 10, right? I think that is very important. Like, for example, I saw this video making rounds, Ibrahim, on social media of Barhama, getting angry on stage.
Well, I was surprised when I saw it.
And that shows, I think, that is what Mr. Mboch is talking about. We all know Barhama as the coolest individual, the coolest musician. He's always smiling. He's never going to tell. He's always encouraging people. So he must have been really mad.
They've really pushed him to the wall.
They pushed him to the wall.
Yeah.
So maybe if he had counted to 10, could have helped count to 10. So, but then you can see that sometimes, you have no control over these things.
There are instances where you cannot even
And I'm happy he
counting.
owned up to his mistake. He came out to apologize to the public because that's not the kind of person he is. For me, apology accepted because he's just human, and then,
well,
something must have triggered.
When I saw the video,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow.
That's
this
not
is
Barham.
No, this is human.
Yes.
I mean, this guy, it's the last person that I'm gonna think he's gonna do this thing,
me too.
But I mean, it's normal as far as he is back and apologized.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's man.
You see why really leadership is very difficult.
Very.
A true leader, I cannot be rattled by anything.
Right.
That composure, that self-composure, that self-control, extraordinarily difficult to achieve.
Very difficult.
But this is why leadership is absolutely difficult.
It's very difficult.
You must have self-control.
No matter the circumstance.
No matter the circumstance. That's how I judge leadership.
I shout.
If you have a weak emotional outburst, I think
You cannot be a leader.
You will be shouting.
You have to be able to control your emotions.
But I mean, I think at some point when I looked at his video, he was trying to control it because he did his song.
No,
from there
he tried. Honestly, he tried. But anyway.
Earlier on, we said self-mastery.
Self-mastering.
That's
the coping mechanism.
And
we always remember, count to 10 before you say anything.
Sometimes you don't think about it.
Yes, I know, but I'll start counting to 10 now. You must. So let's go for a short break. And when we come back, we'll head right on to the newspaper review. Don't go anywhere. Medicalia is a high-quality clinic from Europe, which is now in the Gambia. Do you have an eye problem? Do you feel a hearing difficulty? Medicalia is here to ease the pain for you. The first and only hearing aid dispensing facility nationwide, where patients can be tested and treated to recover from their hearing loss. Fitted with latest generation equipment, our doctors can provide healthcare assistance for eyes, ears, nose, and throat. Common diseases like glaucoma or diabetic retinopathy can be diagnosed and followed up for fast and correct treatment. Make your appointment with the eye or ear, nose, and throat ENT specialist today to relieve any pain you might be feeling, as consultants are available daily. Contact us for more information. Visit us at Tropic Shopping Center near Senegambia from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day of the week, or call us on 503-4411 or 7767-123. Medicalia, premium care, personal touch. Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning, and I am Jennifer Sonko. Ibrahim, that's Foria, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have the Foria newspaper and some of the headlines. Gambia's pollsters fail to predict winners in mayoral and chairperson's election. And we also have council's budget unrealistic, and 6,000 people displaced by Casamas conflict. We also have second gene implicated in resistance of deadliest human malaria parasite to major drugs. And Foria is asking, will this be the most expensive council election in Gambian history?
Okay, so aside from that, we have renowned politician OJ Jallow passes away, attracts nationwide tributes. And 3 remanded over incident that chops off man's hand. And also trouble in Casamas as police officer killed, 3 wounded. And also the World Bank has approved $460 million for regional harmonization of statistics in West Africa. And also farmers hail the Ministry of Agriculture over timely provision of agri inputs. And also economic soldiers in Gambia are not occupation force. Yes, that's the voice.
Yeah, that's the voice. All right, former Vice President urges government to include peace building in budget. Senegal faces democratic crisis. And of course, NAM expresses concern over escalating cost of rent and others. Yes, that's what we have.
That's all you have? Yes, so OJ, renowned politician OJ Jallow passes away, attracts nationwide tribute. Mr. Mboj, what do you remember about this veteran politician?
OJ, quite a bit, I have to say, since he came on to the scene, as it were, back in the 80s. Then he was, the way I put it when I discussed it with others, OJ was the future once, if you know what I mean. He was among the younger generation of Gambian politicians, and another name that I might call in this vein is Mbuba Balde. They were coming up, they were just so popular, they had the common touch, as it were. Everybody liked OJ. I think, in fact, when they created the Ministry of Water Resources, he was the first minister there back in the 80s. Absolutely, and then afterwards, agriculture. But he had this popularity, he had this appeal. It was just quite extraordinary. It's just that afterwards, everybody associated him with the 22 years, the 22 arrests during President Jammeh's time, you know, his testimony. People just associated him with that. And of course there, he demonstrated massive courage, huge, immense courage in really resisting, as it were, what was coming in here. Of course, he learned his politics at the feet of Sadaula Kairaba Jawara, so a Democrat through and through. So this is it. You see, imagine without the coup, 1994, we had a continuity, perhaps a potential future president. If you know what I mean. So that was really his appeal. That part, many of you sort of saw that part. The part you saw was that the stubbornness. This man is wrong, this man is wrong, and I stand where I stand, come what may. He refused. That was the bit you saw. That was the other bit, the charming, popular, wonderful human being that I saw in my youth.
I watched one of his interviews, his testimonies at the TRRC. I was going through it last night. And, you know, when they arrested him, they took him to Mile 2. So, according to him, he said to the council members, we are not going to allow you, you know, for you to rule this country with the barrel of the gun. So former president said to him, in fact, I'm expecting this to come from a person like you. I was expecting that, you know. So he said he was resistant. He wasn't, you know, in agreement with anything they do. So, you know, was beaten and was supposed to be killed. They released everybody, and he was supposed to be killed, you know. So I think he also have this interpersonal skills, where he interacts with everybody. And, you know, he is open, he talks to everybody. So he's a great political figure.
And the faith, in the end, when he said he had forgiven them. Oh, it takes extraordinary courage to do that sort of thing. Was it Boubacar Ba, you know, one of the torturers, as it were? Absolutely, he had forgiven them, even though that the tortures and beatings had left sort of lifelong scars.
He lost his eye.
He said he had forgiven them. What an extraordinary example. I hope that the younger generation, they're looking and watching and listening.
Well, you know, for the likes of OJ, I think they are trying to, like he was trying to set an example. I mean, if we say TRRC, we need to forgive each other, you know, start a new page, you know, it needs to start somewhere. So I think he was just trying to pave the way for us so that everybody can understand this is what we want in this country. Imagine someone tortured to that extent. I mean, you're coming on TV and saying, in fact, I've forgiven the former president. You know, he said all that.
Yes, he wasn't trying to do anything. He was just being himself. That was just the character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Good character show shiny examples.
Yeah.
So that's what.
And
that's
attitude is like smoke.
And that's all it
you know,
is.
you can't contain it. You know, so and you know, we've never sensed that it was to, you know, get political scores or something. But for me, I think ñun mi suñ boppa man mi nga xamne xalé la sax manam not xalé as in xalé ci yen meaning man sa mënon na gis how generous he was, because ma ngi remember so fi ñëwé programs that of day ñëw nema, you know, you're doing so well, xam nga pointing very small details di nga xamne ki ko xamne la lon follow, you know, so jël time am encourage la, you know, things like that. So lolu dafa continue ci mom, you know, so and lolu shows how much mu bëgg ñun tam ñu comme nit ko xamne la dafa bëggon success continue. How man naka la ko puté, you know, because you know mënon na mo wane oh xalé yi, but you stand.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Encourage la. Oh, dama di sitan sali, you're doing so well. You know, things like that, you know, so we're sending some love and light to the family. You know, this must be very difficult moments, you know, in as much as we lost him, it's a matter of also celebrating him, because so say we are sitting here today to talk about, you know, these achievements, who he is, and him inspiring us, you know, it's because he did a good job. He lived a meaningful life. So that's the most important thing. We are sad, but we celebrate alongside.
Absolutely. All right, so Jenabo, take us through again.
Do you, yeah, so the World Bank has approved $460 million US for regional harmonization of statistics in West Africa, where statistics in West Africa are going to be harmonized. Mr. Mboji, you're smiling. Are you about to say it's just one of those things?
No, I was about to say that maybe the individual countries must try to harmonize first. So you can do all the rest.
I agree.
In most of these countries within data collection, there's so many gaps, as it were, in the way we collect data and the like. So this is the problem. These transnational schemes, what often scuppers them or undermines them is the fact that within the national borders, people have not got their house in order. So this is going to be the problem in the end, you know. So we'll see how this one goes.
Yeah, you know, I think this is very important, this harmonization. But like you said, individual countries in West Africa have to do their own housekeeping. So currently, Gambia is building its social registry, you know, which is a good thing. You know, that's a step in the right direction. So from there, other data in other departments as well. When it comes to climate change, all the departments bring their data together. These individuals bring their data together. Because in the Gambia here, even when university students are conducting research, it's a problem. Because these data are not locally harmonized, like you mentioned. So I think with this 460 million, then individual countries should be supported to get their data in order, have it right, and then we do it at the larger scale. I totally agree with that.
Absolutely. And then afterwards, we use the data to do things. You know, there's just so much. There's just so much to do.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe
really.
When ECOWAS is organizing stuff, you know, they can easily, you know, tap into that, rather than maybe doing things blindly because the data is not there, things like that.
That will be for everybody. We all know that without data, really, then I do not have a realistic or an accurate picture of what is going on. So everybody knows that. It's just that we've got these attitudes and the shortcomings in our capacity and our resources. We mention these things all the time. So, but yes, it's a wonderful thing. Fine, we want to harmonize, and what does that mean? Then individual countries will harmonize internally first. Then we can share as a group, and everybody will benefit. Of course, nobody can knock that.
Yeah. So, Mr. Mboji, I'm afraid that is all we have time for. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time.
Cheers.
All right, we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, the program continues. Don't go anywhere.
Showroom for your luxurious name brand vehicle. Located along the Bertil Harding Highway, Espas Motors is the Gambia's authorized dealer for Chery, Kia, Ford, and now we bring you the new Peugeot model 3008 SUV. 18-inch alloy wheels, 216 inches high ground clearance, keyless entry system, start and stop button, rear parking assistance system with reverse camera, adaptive cruise control with speed limit, LED daytime running lights.
Up to more for the most fashionable options. Once you find a frame you like, your lenses will immediately be edged by our lab technician. Within 30 minutes, you will be able to leave with your prescription glasses and a huge smile on your face. How amazing is that? Visit us at the Tropic Shopping Center near Senegambia from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day of the week, or call us on 503-4411 or 7767-123.
Step into the Espas Motors showroom for your luxurious name brand vehicle. Located along the Bertil Harding Highway, Espas Motors is the Gambia's authorized dealer for Chery, Kia, Ford, and now we bring you the new Peugeot model 3008 SUV. 18-inch alloy wheels, 216 inches high ground clearance, keyless entry system, start and stop button, rear parking assistance system with reverse camera, adaptive cruise control with speed limit, LED daytime running lights, front and side airbags, 8-inch HD touchscreen. Not to forget our exquisite Peugeot Landtrek double cabin pickup with 2.1 liter diesel engine, 6-speed manual transmission 4x4, hill descent control, LED daytime running lights. Espas Motors, the authorized dealer for Peugeot. Visit us today or call us on 35-22-222 or 353-4444.
Do your banking the smart way with the new Aji Bank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Aji Bank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Aji Bank, your investment partner. Q Money e Orange Money Johnny webini nuldugol mbudi mi yetoma Johnny ida wawi nuldude mbudi irako Gambia do yaha Senegal e Q Money wallet mount e ko hon wonda e fadde mi yetoma kututo Q Money account ma on Johnny fuddoda nuldude mbudi e teribe ma e wadon ka Orange Money nder Senegal fi yebugol hen ko laabi ida wawi nuldude Q Money customer care e 133 Q Money suñu kalpe dum no yadi e sartaji.
Welcome back from that short break.
Just $300.
Buma interrupts
That's almost $15,000.
Anyway, welcome back, okay? Like I said, you know, when we do this program, I just wish viewers can get to behind the scenes to actually understand what we discuss, because that's the most exciting part of it all.
No, why have got koto di jobs? Mom su ñëwé daf dé def distraction.
I know.
Always.
Entertainment.
No, but who is the baddest manager in the Gambia?
The baddest manager.
There is no baddest manager except him. I'm fan di jobs like.
No, today I'm the baddest director.
Exactly, baddest director. Entertainment, procurement, procurement policies. But anyway, we're joined by Mr. Ibrahim Asanyang, Director of Procurement Policies and Operations, as well as Dembo Jabate, who is the Communication and Publicity Officer at the GPPA. So, Mr. Sanyang, to start with, let's talk about the new regulations and policies when it comes to procurement. You know, what prompted this initiative?
Good morning, viewers. Yeah. Thank you. Now, I want to take you a little bit back to the historical background of the whole procurement system in the Gambia. I think most of you can remember that prior to the inception of the Gambia Public Procurement Act 2001, and which it was effective in 2003, there used to be major and minor tender board. The major tender board was taking care of higher values of procurement, while the minor was taking lower values. Now, in 1998, there was an assessment of the procurement system by the World Bank in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs. And the results revealed that there is a need to change the system.
To upgrade, yeah.
Now, this was when the 2001 Act was came into being, and Regulation 2003, and also gave birth to the existence of the Gambia Public Procurement Authority. Now, there was an Act 2001 which was made effective in 2003, but then there were a series of changes. The world is changing, and procurement
is
will
changing.
not be left
you know,
behind.
it needs to
so
be
there
in a
has
way.
been changes. 2001 Act was amended several times, as well as the regulations. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think you can also remember that couple of months ago, the GPPA Act 2022 was enacted by the National Assembly and assented to by His Excellency the President. Now, an act always goes with a regulation to explain more, or to explain in detail what the content of the act is. So when that 2022 Act was assented to by the President, there was a need to have a regulation to explain in detail. Well, so that is why this act came into being. But then with some improvements, of course.
Yeah, so what are some of these improvements?
Now, actually, first of all, if you look at the content of the act, now, for 2014 act, it indicates that the authority is responsible for the monitoring and regulation of public procurement in the Gambia. Now, if you look at the current act, it says the GPPA is responsible for regulation. So the monitoring aspect is removed. Why? Because there has been these observations and the like, and the whole aim is to improve. So there was a sort of observations that if we are to regulate, at the same time monitor, it will seem as GPPA is playing the role of both a judge and a jury, because the former dispensations require GPPA or all procurement transactions by procuring organizations at a certain level or threshold should all pass to GPPA for prior reviews. When we review, of course, we give approval for them to proceed. At the end of the day, we also conduct procurement audit. So you see some of the technicalities or the implications. You give approval, at the end of the day, you audit when you were part of the... So these are some of the weaknesses that were identified.
So is it because corrupt practices were happening at a time? That is why that was looked into, to be blunt about it?
Actually, I may not call them corrupt practices, but I will call them weaknesses probably, because
but
there is no system that is 100% perfect. Of course, there is no system which is 100%.
That's true.
But then these are well-noted observations that needs to be corrected in order to be at par with international best practices.
So when it was happening, what were some of the issues? Is it because there were kickbacks here and there, or corrupt practices happening? There must have been a reason, in as much as we wanted to adapt to best practice locally, problems that were happening.
Actually, when you talk about, it's possible there were kickbacks, it's all possible, but then even the old act have provisions for sanctions and the like in case one is found wanting. There are clearly defined rules that must be followed. So up to now, we have not seen anybody that is found wanting that requires some of the measures to be taken against the person.
Yeah, but there are allegations that these things are still happening. Allegations here and there.
Yeah, people must talk, I know. Okay. People must talk. People must talk. Sometimes they suspect, but you cannot actually take a good conclusion without evidences. So if you just talk, but then if there are no evidences, it's going to be very difficult.
So when somebody is found wanting at the level of the GPPA, who handles it? Is there a disciplinary board to handle this?
According to our provisions, when somebody is found wanting or you suspect, you report to the National Audit Office, to come and conduct a more detailed audit exercise to establish what went on. But for our part, when we conduct compliance review exercises where transactions will be reviewed to verify whether they have been going in accordance or being done in accordance with the provisions of the law. So when that is done, a report will be generated which will be sent to the PAC of the National Assembly. They will look at it and then based on recommendations and the like.
And this has never happened?
What has never happened?
Something like that?
No, our findings, of course there has been some levels of non-compliance.
Okay.
And when I talk about non-compliance, I am not saying that corruption and
I just want to know,
So issues of non-compliance will always be reported.
Will arise. So let's talk about, Ibrahim, capacity building, because with Mr. Jabata here as communications and publicity officer, how often do you build maybe capacities
I think before we go there,
yes.
I mean, they also organized, an authorization ceremony.
Nice.
I would like us to delve into that. Tell us about the ceremony, how did it go, and what achievements have you made so far?
So I'll also ask my question alongside, so that immediately after that you will leave. Because daf ma de buga di ma dok dama nek su suma degi lafte ni rek la ko de xolé xolal balde la santa ma bay ko nonu setane ko nonu. So when it comes to, you know, because continuous capacity building is important for you know, officials in different departments to ensure that they adapt to these things, adapting to best practices as well. So you know, take us through that. How often does the organization, you know, ensure that?
Thank you very much, and then thank you to our beautiful viewers that are watching us right now. This is important. GPP, if you look at our vision, it says to be the center of excellence for public procurement. That goes to say the establishment of the GPPI, which is the Gambia Public Procurement Institute, situated at GPPA, is centered on that reality, capacity building. And GPPA also have its training office, people that are responsible to build the capacity of sector players in the procurement industry, and of course in the other procuring organizations, which is key. Because before you can tell people about procurement processes, the rules and regulations, the act, you know, they need to be schooled about it. Yeah, exactly. So it is GPP's responsibility to do this, and GPPA have been doing this, so to speak. This is why we had to relate what GPPA have been doing to the public, so that the public can know, because there's accountability in public communication. Exactly. So the public needs to know GPPA in its mightiest capacity as the most important organization in this country, so to speak. You know, and procurement, if you look at it, you know, is something crucial. One would say out of 85 or 80% of this country's budget goes into procurement. Exactly. And this is where all these problems would come. If you look at the anomalies you did mention here, you know, corruption and collusion. Even though it will be harder, you know, for us to control some of these things, but then GPP have been doing, you know, quite, you know, well in making so these things are addressed. Yeah, maybe the GPPA should double up. You know, we see globally when it comes to the COVID-19 pandemic, you know, procurement problems here and there. Not just unique to the Gambia. It's a general problem, I believe. GPPA have been doing great, Jenaba. You know, Sanan did mention the compliance review activity, which is key, because the compliance review, that is where we would know the compliance aspect of other government procurement organizations. Yes. You go there, you review, you know, to know their procurement processes, to know the types of procurement that they have conducted. At the end of the day, you generate this report, you know, to take it to National Assembly. And guide them later on if there's an issue. I think it's key. One key issue is GPP have been doing all these things, you know, over a decade. But then because now we are relating, you know, the public to know all these things, because a lot of people also would say, oh, what is GPPA doing? We feel they should come up, you know, to address these things. But GPPA have been doing very well, you know, from inception to this very moment, to be honest. Well, that's the point there. I mean, they've been doing well. I mean, I don't expect you to come here and tell us GPPA is not doing well, you know, but I think seeing is believing too. Yeah, you've seen the authorization ceremony, you know, as per the new act. These are organizations that were assessed by GPPA. And then there was nothing like a criterion, there were criteria. So all these are things that GPPA look into before, you know, they authorize those POs that are involved. And we also had to authorize them to officialize by giving them, you know, certificates to show we have assessed you, and then you have passed or fulfilled. But I heard the problem is internally inside GPA. Is where the problem is. No, there is no problem. Because like these are like public perceptions, like we are saying. Public perception. You know what? No, but you know the hula balloons and the brouhahas, we cannot avoid them. I mean, let there be rumor regarding the existence of GPP, regarding the functions of GPP. But then GPP as a regulatory authority, I will tell you this, Geneva, if GPP is not existing in this country, we would have seen very, very, very unfortunate incidents. But we've seen unfortunate incidents when it comes to procurement. But then no. You're talking about the serious ones. That's what I'm talking about. Geneva, if you want to follow some of these things, you would have to question the science of creation. You understand? So GPP have been doing great.
Actually, not to cut them off. For us, definitely, we know the kind of procurements that we stop at GPPA level. Like our prior reviews, when procurements come, we review them and ensure that the procedures and processes are in line with the procedures laid down by the Act and Regulation. Some of them we disapprove. Yes, there are instances when we find out that the submissions are not in line with what should prevail, obviously we stop them, and unless they improve, we cannot give approval. Yeah. But then, if I can come back to the authorization.
Yes.
Now, I always want to compare the 2014 Act and then give you a basis for some of the changes that are going on. Now, if you look at 2014 Act, and that is 2018 Amendment Act, it provides that Section 12 of the Act provides that no procuring organization shall engage in any procurement above such a threshold without seeking prior approval from the authority. Prior approval from the authority. Every procurement above a certain threshold must pass through GPPA for prior approval before you proceed. Now, if you look at the 2022 Act, it provides that no procuring organization shall be authorized without fulfilling certain requirements.
Now, what are some of these requirements, for example?
These are the requirements that I am about to reveal.
Okay.
Now, in the first place, you must have the capacity.
Okay.
Now, to authorize an institution, you must have the requisite capacity. We must be certain that you have the capacity in terms of staff, in terms of knowledge, and so on, to be able to conduct your own procurement without any problem. And this is the expertise that is needed. Now, in that is why we conduct the capacity assessment.
Right.
And the capacity assessment is to verify or to ascertain that the procuring organization concerned have the capacity to conduct their own procurement. And this is premised on certain things that we look at. Okay? These include what? The establishment of structures, including what? The contracts committee, as required by the Act. The specialized procurement unit of procuring organization, as required by the Act. The capacity of the SPU, especially in terms of knowledge and skills to be able to conduct their own procurement. So if an institution is assessed and then found to have that adequate capacity that will enable it to conduct its own procurement without any problem, of course we authorize, we give a certificate to give the green lights to proceed on their own without seeking prior approval from the authority.
Exactly. What about the pre-validation workshop?
Actually, like I said earlier, the Act changed several times from 2001 up to date. There has been changes. And the last one, like I said earlier, was ascertained by the President sometimes in November. I think it was 1st November, something like that. Yeah. The Act always goes with a regulation that will explain more. So when that Act was assented to by the President, the GPPA prepared a regulation, an attendant regulation to the Act. This requires some technical, it's very technical. Okay. So the GPPA, in collaboration with its satellite institutions, like the Competition Commission, you have the Procurement Cadre Directorate of the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry itself. You have the other institutions that work with the GPPA, prepare a regulation. But the authority is not working in isolation. Okay. Now, this pre-validation was meant to invite stakeholders so that we scrutinize and critically look at those things that the authority come out with as a regulation. And it's a pre-validation, so that we make our observations and comments and the like and improve before the validation proper. Because we want to come out with a document that is presentable at par with international best practices. So we called the pre-evaluation was meant to call experts initially, experts, people who have vast knowledge in public procurement, so that we critically look at the document and then make recommendations, make adjustments, and so on before the final document for evaluation, and then finally the final.
But Mr. Sanyang and Mr. Jabate, make sure do not give them transport refund, okay, when they come for these validations.
Well, Jennifer.
Don't.
No, excuse me. It's nice that you mention about refunds and not allowances.
Yes.
It's refunds. Obviously.
You have to refund.
Who made that effort to leave.
It's called refund.
No, but for example, if it is government departments, they are doing their jobs. If it is civil society, media maybe, external individuals, for them they can be refunded because it's not incumbent on them. But for example, if it is government departments, your sister organizations, there's no need.
But what about
there is no need to give.
If you go on check, it's a
allowances.
different case.
Probably, but refunds of transport, obviously, that
refund of transport when already government is paying for their fuel, that brought them to the validation.
Yes.
It should be refunded.
I will have a serious discussion with you.
As a country, these are the blunt conversations that we are supposed to have. You know, if it's civil society, media, external individuals, then one can understand. But if these are like sister organizations, government institutions, that government already is giving them coupon to fuel their cars, when they're coming for such validations, they are not supposed to be refunded anything.
But Jennifer, equally, they have been given food, they have been given refreshments.
Food, I don't have a problem with food. People need to eat.
Yeah, looking at the crucial nature of these events, I don't think it's a problem for that to be done. To me, I see it as...
Maybe that money, you could have said, okay, we're channeling it into something somewhere.
Well, I think you must have an idea of what motivation is.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's all about motivation. It's all about motivation.
I'm looking for patriotism here, which we should instill in government officials.
Well, there is
in a way, you are not after the money for motivation. You are paid salary. You are given car coupon. You are given allowances for your job. So coming there to participate is your job.
Well, there is motivation in patriotism, Zainab.
I agree with that.
Yes, exactly. So
but not in these instances for documents. You know why? Then when individuals come and they're told prior, there's no transport refund, the ones who come are there to really participate for this validation document.
Well,
because people come for two different reasons, and you will agree with me on that.
Well, like I said, these are very important events.
Okay.
But national events. It's not bad at all for participants to be motivated by giving them tokens.
Motivated.
But for me, you mentioned that people come there for two reasons. What are they? What are the reasons why people come there?
Money?
Because nobody will say that the amount that is given as transport refunds is... Me personally, if left for me alone, it will not warrant me going or leaving my order.
That is you.
So, yes. And
so many others.
So many others.
You know what I'm saying?
So
we are all Gambians, and we know this syndrome.
So many
we
others
are aware of it.
They came for the validation.
I know it's not about the money, but we are all Gambians, and we know the syndrome in this country. Like, for example, when it comes to politics, today, someone is going to leave his or her home just to attend a rally to get a T-shirt. T-shirt, $150. So that is showing the mindset. Let's agree.
Now, let me give you an example.
Exactly.
Let me give you an example that we went through the preparation of this validation. These regulations that we are talking about. Now, not to interfere with our official work, we start at 3 o'clock. Sorry, 4 o'clock after working hours. And honestly, we will be there up to after midnight.
Amazing.
On daily basis.
That's good.
For me, even weekends.
We used to come.
Even weekends.
That
sometimes I said, does it require? So these are the kind of things that we are talking about. If it is about money alone, honestly, I would not have wasted my time for things like that. So that is where this...
I 100% agree that is not the main reason. But sometimes, we're just moving away. We're just trying to graduate from
The usual.
Yeah, but I mean, Janaba, I mean,
if you agree, fine.
It's good to motivate people.
Exactly.
When they attend your events, I mean, it's important for you to motivate them.
Very.
They're also motivated by giving them certificates as well.
Certificates,
so there
fine.
was motivation, there was patriotism.
And
so I
think
there was nothing wrong with that.
People in civil service are doing tremendously well for this country.
I agree.
Correct.
And I think the public also should be appreciative of those realities, that as civil servants, we devote most of our time in the development of this country.
Agreed.
Well, this is a country where...
But do you also agree that on the other hand, public servants...
I am coming, people hardly... No, the thing is, people hardly appreciate the duties and functions of public servants in this country. This is a country where you would see all these talks on social media. They had given them podium. They went to this place. They went to that.
Yeah.
But you are, I'm telling you, you are not also considering the fact that if you should see Director Sanyan's office, if you should enter in his office today, Balde, you would run away because of the number of files on his desk. So you're not talking about that. How many files is the president seeing in State House on daily basis? You are not talking about that. How many files is the minister going through on daily basis?
Yes, that is the job. Minister, is his responsibility. He signed for it. He knew what he was signing up for.
I'm coming. But he would not do that for free. You cannot do all these things for gratis.
You have a salary.
I am coming because you people have hired your guesses as civil servants of reason. Whatever is best known to you.
I give flowers to the individuals I'm supposed to give flowers.
Jennifer, billahi, whatever that this country have been paying us, I feel there should be an increment. Due calculation.
How much problem? Salary increment, fine.
Yes.
Why chopati want to be la?
No. There are no chopati want to be.
But Mr. Sanyan, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. You know, this is very important. Ensuring that things are updated and they're compliant is a good thing. You know, sometimes we just push you guys because obviously the loopholes are there, but obviously we also recognize, you know, the very challenging circumstances that you're working under.
And one thing that is key also, Jennifer, is regarding the authorization signing. We've just authorized the first batch. We also want to order POs
to come.
Exactly, to request so that they can be assessed and then authorized.
Actually, what he's saying is, yes, 8 institutions were authorized, but it's a continuous process.
But thank you so much. Exactly. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Sanyan and Mr. Jabate. So I'm afraid that is all we have time for in this edition of This Morning. Do not forget that tomorrow too will be starting at 9 a.m. and it's just a 1-hour program due to the commission. So stay tuned and watch the commission to take a look at the revelations on the table. Bye for now.
Yes.